Are you a self-storage owner or operator looking for service providers to help at your facility? Well, the Storage Business Owners Alliance, also known as the SBOA, has you covered. The SBOA is a premier online hub for connecting self-storage owners and operators to industry-leading products and service providers. We provide one-stop shopping for your business with exclusive offers to save time and money. At the SBOA, we believe by coming together, we help owners and operators grow revenue, gain purchasing power, reduce expenses, improve efficiencies, and increase profitability. We also offer many resources such as our conferences and self-storage unlock webinars to help self-storage owners and operators gain the knowledge needed to become more competitive in the industry. To become an SBOA member or to find out more information, please visit www.thesboa.com today. We can't wait for you to join the Alliance.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for another Self-Storage Unlocked episode put on by the Storage Business Owners Alliance, better known as the SBOA. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Jessica Johnson. I'm the Vice President of the SBOA, and we love putting on these educational webinars for the self-storage industry. We typically do 2 to 3 of these free per month to help owners and operators just like you that are in the business or looking to get into the business, expand your knowledge base. So today we have a group of panelists, and we're going to be talking all about setting a strategy for self-storage maintenance, the list, the timelines, all the supplies that you're going to need. We're getting into busy season here soon, so we want to make sure we are locked and ready to go with all of our scheduled maintenance. And we're going to give you some tips and tricks and pointers today on those items that you should be looking for. So before we get started, I see a lot of you are commenting in the chat area, excuse me. If you have questions for the panelists today, that's where you're going to ask your questions live. Go ahead and drop those questions into the comment section. I see we had some technical issues earlier, but I think it looks like it's resolved itself. So if anybody else is having technical issues, drop those comments in the comment section. We'll do our best on the back end to get everything up and running for you. And one other thing that we will do in the comment section, we're going to ask some poll questions, excuse me, throughout the day. And if you could take your time and answer those poll questions for us in the comment area, we would really appreciate it. And don't be shy. Please interact with us. We want you to interact. We've got the speakers here, those self-storage experts that we consider in these different topics that we talk about. So we can't put on these type of events without our industry vendors and industry owners and partners. So huge shout out to Cost Segregation Services Incorporated. And there's my cat. Sorry, y'all. She's going to join us today. CSSI Energy Services, EverBrite Coatings, and Interstate Self-Storage. And I'm going to go ahead and just start getting everybody up here. We're going to announce our speakers for the day, and then we're going to show you a brief video, and we're going to get started. So my first guest today is Brian from CSSI Energy Services. Hey, Brian.
Morning, Jessica. How you doing?
I'm good. I can't, I've
Good.
got like this tickle in my throat that I just can't cure today. So
That's
lots of
'cause
water.
you got a cat jumping around your back. That's why.
Well, probably allergic to her, and that's why I'm nervous of having an attack. Brian, tell us about CSSI Energy Services, how long you've been working in the self-storage industry, and what you guys do over there.
Perfect. Thank you very much for having me on today. So CSSI Energy Services, we focus primarily on lighting projects, taking old facilities, converting from fluorescent technology to LED technology. We can do that both for existing facilities, and then we can also assist in new construction, doing lighting layouts, providing material. So those are our primary focus on that. I've been in the lighting industry for over 20 years, okay, with a main focus on the self-storage industry over the last 5. And what we have found is that a lot of owners wind up doing a lot of lighting projects on their own, okay? But when they do that, they leave money on the table. And what I mean by that is there's rebates that are offered by your local utility companies that will pay you when you convert from old technology to LED technology. In addition to that, there's tax savings available. And if you're all familiar with cost segregation, there's tax savings that are similar to cost segregation as it applies specifically to lighting. Okay.
Got it.
So in cost segregation, if you're not familiar with that, Warren Dazzio from our sister company is going to talk about that a little bit later. So great
Awesome.
to be here. We work nationwide. Looking forward to this, and thank you very much.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks for being here. All right. And next up, we have Matthew Torrence, and Matthew is from Janus International. So we'll bring Matthew up. Hey, Matt.
Morning, Jessica. How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, good. Glad to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. So give the audience a little bit of a background. You're new over to Janus, but you're not new to self-storage. You were with Public for a long time. So tell me your background.
Yeah, so again, thanks for having me on. I'm Matt Torrence with Janus now for almost a month. So still, getting my sea legs over here and learning a lot of the Janus way and how things operate from here at a corporate level. But before that, as Jessica mentioned, I'd spent almost 19 years with Public Storage, exclusively working in their facilities department. So dealing with a lot of the things that we're going to talk about today: maintenance, maintaining your properties, how to do capital planning and execution of projects that you identify based on the needs of the property or properties. So I've been doing a lot of times a topic that's near and dear to my heart. Excited to be a part of the webinar here today.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here today, Matt. And I can't wait to hear your perspective, especially when you were with one of the big REITs out there for a long time. So good to get that perspective for our owners. Thank you. All right. Next up, I have Miss Jackie from EverBrite Coatings. Hey, Jackie.
Hey, Jess. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. I just ran and grabbed my internet because I was having internet issues.
Oh, no. I didn't even see that on the back end. So Jackie's a good friend of mine. Jackie and I share the same birthday. Jackie, tell the audience about yourself, self-storage, how long you've been around, and what EverBrite Coatings does.
Yeah, so EverBrite is a door restoration coating that restores the original color and luster of doors. EverBrite has been in the self-storage industry for over 26 years now. And you'll meet Stephanie as one of our good customers. And so we have been helping the self-storage industry just kind of beautify itself, restore itself, make it look newer, and help with curb appeal for the last 26 years.
Awesome. Thanks, Jackie, so much for being here today. Can't wait to show the audience before and after photos of what your product can do for doors. That's awesome. All right. So next up, as Jackie was just mentioning, we have Stephanie Winfree from it's Interstate Self-Storage, right, Steph?
That's correct. Yes. Interstate Self-Storage. And we have our sister facility where I'm at right now, Innovation Self-Storage.
Innovation. Oh, I like that name. Good name.
Yes.
And then, Steph, you serve on the board for South Carolina Self-Storage Association. Is that correct?
That is correct. About 12 years now, I've been serving on the board. I am currently the Vice President of Education.
Awesome. So when Stephanie needs speakers, and if you're in the industry and you feel like you have a topic you want to talk about, that's your gal to get in touch with over in South Carolina. And they do the combined conference in the fall with the Georgia Association, right, Steph?
Correct. We will be hosting that event October 1st through the 3rd in Alpharetta at the Hotel Avalon. So last year was a huge success. I know, Jess, you were there. You're also one of our speakers and will be, as I've heard today, another speaker next year, this year's event.
Yeah.
So are trying to make it bigger and better than it was last year.
Yeah.
So,
and I don't know if anyone.
We need sponsors.
We need sponsors. Avalon's such a beautiful property. So Stephanie can get you all of the information. If you're in the states of like Georgia, North and South Carolina, this is a show that you want to go to in the Southeast in the fall. So Steph, tell us about your properties and how long you've been in the business.
So I've been doing this about 19 years. Interstate self-storage is 27 years old. And then Innovation self-storage is about 5 years old.
Okay.
So from maintenance perspective, I have big gap. I've got new, I've got old. So, I boots on the ground. I'm the maintenance person and manager and jack of all trades.
Yes.
So, but, it's been a great industry to be part of. So thank you for having me today. And hopefully I can give some insight to the operator side of things when it comes to keeping facilities. Because like you said, busy season's around the corner. We've got to be in shape. It's a competitive market. I have way too many REITs near me. So I've got to make the small operation stand out.
Yeah. And let's not forget, these are several million-dollar assets. So like, why on God's green earth wouldn't you be taking care of them and maintaining them and making sure everything is running the way that it should be? So this is an important topic today. So thanks for being here, Steph.
Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Last but not least, I have Mr. Warren Dazzio. I love your last name, Warren Dazzio. It's just so just makes me think of like Dazzle.
I like it too. If we were in Italy, it would be like pizza. Dazzio is how they'd say it. So,
Dazzio? Okay, awesome. Well, good to know. Thanks for the history lesson. I appreciate it. Warren, you're with CSSI. You do cost segregation. You've done it when we had our portfolio, when we had Storage Pros Management for us. You literally saved our company millions of dollars. So share with the audience like how you guys can help do that.
Yeah, so I work with Don Little in the self-storage world. He and I, the punchline, I like to begin with end in mind. The punchline is we can help you lower your federal taxes. That's the easy answer to it. And what we do is we're an engineering-based consulting firm, and we focus on the tax law surrounding buildings. We've been in the self-storage space for 10 or 15 years, and we offer cost segregation. That's kind of the main thing, helps you reduce your federal income taxes. We also offer consulting and insight on any kind of projects you're doing. If you're doing a maintenance repair issue, we can kind of coach you on whether you can expense it or capitalize it. If you have to capitalize or build a new building, build a new facility, we can show you how to accelerate depreciation and reduce your income taxes. But the fun part is we're selling a service. No one likes to pay taxes. So it's an easy thing to sell. And that's basically what we do. It's a lot more complicated getting there, but any owners or any managers that are doing renovation projects, if you're buying, building, call us and let us just kind of coach you on the best strategy to help reduce your federal income taxes.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Warren. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot to understand, but once you start to understand the impacts and the benefits and how this can be rolled back into your properties to help, expand, do capital expenditure type projects, it's really important. So, all right, before we get started, I'm going to play a couple videos from our sponsoring companies, and then we're going to bring everybody up. We're going to start talking about all this stuff. Audience, get your questions ready for us.
If you're looking to add net rentable square feet to your self-storage facility without the hassle of traditional ground-up construction, it's time to turn to mass relocatable storage units from Janus International. Mass relocatable storage units have set the bar for portable storage in the self-storage industry. With their superior design, state-of-the-art looks, and innovative features. Unlike the substandard alternatives, mass units are completely customizable. So you can create the perfect self-storage addition to complement your facility without sacrificing any quality, unit mix, opening height, or rentable square footage. Each unit is constructed with galvanized steel framing and durable corrugated steel panels, which adds strength and eliminates pesky problems such as oil canning, which is commonly found with cheap manufacturers. We didn't invent relocatable storage, but we sure have made everyone else reinvent theirs. When you choose Mass Units by Janus International, you won't be falling for any gimmicks or impersonations. You'll be getting a reliable product that outperforms, outlasts, and outshines the competition. Ready to add net rentable square feet to your self-storage facility? Optimize idle land and increase your income? It's time to consider mass relocatable storage by Janus International.
All right, so I'm going to get everybody back up here, and we've got a great question to get this started. So let me get our speakers up here. I've got Jackie, I've got Brian, I've got Warren, I've got Matt, I've got Stephanie. All right, we're all here. And Jackie provided us a really good slide deck that we're gonna look at. And then Stephanie even provided us some checklists that she uses at her facility. And this is a great segue to get this started, because Taylor's asking, we've been trying to create seasonal checklists for our facility managers, cleaners, and construction crew. What are the big things to focus on each season? Anyone want to talk about that for a minute? We'll get Jackie's slides up.
Well, I'll go ahead and pipe in on this. We're coming into spring. I'm in South Carolina. We have heavy storms, winds, tornadoes, gutters. We are getting our gutters treated Monday. They're getting cleaned out, inspected, make sure we're good to go. We do that quarterly, because you don't want your gutters clogging and rain getting into a storage unit. So that's a spring, actually when it's year round, but springtime, definitely want to concentrate on your gutters.
Yeah. Anyone else have anything to add to it that they would think that they should focus on in the springtime?
I'd say making sure you spray all your weeds along if you've got weeds growing, because now's the time that they're going to start growing, and you want to get them sprayed and out of there or cleaned up before they really start making a mess and impeding people's access.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jackie, I'll let you take us through this, and we'll all interact with you, and we'll get the audience to interact too as you go through this. So, all right, tell me about this picture. Would I rather rent there, or what's my other option?
There you go. So basically we're, just talking about curb appeal in general, and using your maintenance time and your maintenance list to maintain your curb appeal. So cleaning your doors or taking care of your door maintenance is really important to do on a regular basis. So this just kind of speaking to your curb appeal and how clean your facility can look, and what you should be doing to really attract new customers.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's part of your physical curb appeal, and then digital curb appeal is also very important. Although I just spoke about this at SSA, people drive by your facility every day. They're in your 3 to 5 mile radius, and they're driving by every day. And whether they need storage or not, they're making a subconscious decision about your facility before they ever need self-storage.
For sure.
And so when it comes time, if your place looks really run down, or there's trash or vagrants are outside, or it looks dirty, they're not going to rent from you when it comes time. So you have to use your maintenance checklist to make sure that your facility is looking good all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And we can skip a few of these slides, mostly going through to the part about the maintenance. So that's what they see. Your customers too also see different things than what your potential customers see, right? Your customers also see the inside of your facility. They see your trash. They see your bathrooms. They see all those things. So this is what I have just as a general, and I think Stephanie's will probably be more specific, but as a daily or weekly, and then as a monthly, and then quarterly and biannual. So like right now, you can be checking your HVAC inspection, or for those who have water condenser units for their internal climate control systems. You want to make sure those are working before it gets too hot in the summertime.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, now's the time. The last thing you want is your HVAC breaking down in the dead of summer when it's super hot. And I know a lot of the HVAC companies now have smart advanced technology that You can monitor your HVAC systems remotely. You can adjust like even down to the residential, right? Like I have the Ecobee. I could be in California and turn my air down to 70 if I wanted to before I come home or whatever. So same kind of thought there. And I think what I see happen a lot with owner operators is it's like one of those mentalities of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But this is like preventative maintenance programs that you should be getting, or at least having conversations with these different providers. Like, what does preventative maintenance look like on these different product lines? And get on a schedule with them. It's a minimal monthly fee or annual fee to do that, and you're protected, right? I mean, it's almost like a warranty in a sense.
Hey, Jessica, I'll add something here too. All this is daytime things you would see.
Yes.
Drive by it at night, see if you have gaps in your lighting. People would say, God, that doesn't look safe because it's dark. Or, at nighttime, the lights are going to kind of highlight some of the things that you've not taken care of. You're going to see those better. So,
yeah,
lighting is a huge thing, and make sure you're doing that curb appeal at nighttime too.
Yeah.
Hey, Jessica.
Signage lighting as well. I mean, that's your
signage lighting. Yeah. So I have a funny story about signage lighting while we're on this topic. And it is important. All right, y'all. So there's a local trampoline park here where I live. And lo and behold, Olean is not working. So it literally says trampoline park. Lighting and signage is critical, guys. I don't know that I want to take my kid to the tramp park, but I surely will take him to the trampoline park.
Hey, Jessica.
Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
A couple other things on the lighting maintenance. Make sure, because we've just come off daylight savings, or we're going back to daylight savings, make sure your time clocks are adjusted.
Yeah.
I go by these facilities, I see the lights are still coming on at 5 p.m. It's not getting dark till 8. Save yourself some money.
Yeah.
The other thing that nobody's addressed either is emergency lighting. Okay. You're actually required by code to do a monthly check, to walk through and push all of your emergency test buttons on both the exit signs and emergency lighting.
Okay. That's a good
And if you're not doing that monthly, no big deal, but make sure you're doing it at least twice a year. And we always kind of wrap that around going from springtime into winter. So
playing off what Brian was saying, you do not want the fire department and the fire inspector showing up and telling you, guess what, none of your exit lights are working. You have to replace all 4 buildings worth of exit lights.
Right, exactly.
In those instances, if it's like a safety issue, could they technically shut you down for like a day or so until you did it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
they can fine you as well. So
right.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as just walking through and pushing a button if you can reach them.
Hey, Jessica, too, you were talking about being able to track, like on your HVAC remotely.
Yeah.
Well, actually, there's programs out there now that will monitor your emergency lighting remotely, so you can see if it's operating or not. Okay.
Yeah,
there's just can't reach.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
They need to get on a ladder and press a button. It just shoots it to your computer.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then one of the audience members said, making sure checking fire extinguishers. This is another big one. You got to make sure the tag on it has been inspected recently. It's up to code. And again, because if the fire marshal comes in and it's not, they could absolutely shut you down until you had the proper safety measures in place for your facility. And you want them in place too. God forbid something happens, right? Mm-hmm. Somebody else just said, remember all fire extinguishers. Somebody's asking you, Brian, to post your contact information. Rhonda is, so if we could do that. Iris, on the back end, pull up Stephanie's checklist for me so we can just see if there was anything different than kind of what Jackie had. Let's go to full screen view here. I don't know if I can do it or not. Can everybody see that, Steph? Walk me through that.
Okay, so this is something that I've trained the managers to do on a daily basis, right? Because you're staying on top of everything. You're going to prevent large expenses. You want to make sure that there aren't any lights out in climate control because, well, that doesn't look good. Water issues, perimeter fencing issues, any issues with our sliding gates, sliding doors. And being in South Carolina, we get such wild weather. We check, especially during the spring and summer, we check our HVAC temperatures and climate control in the morning and the afternoon to make sure we're not seeing any odd readings. Mm-hmm. I don't have the fancy thermostats that will email that, like my Ecobee, but that's our first line of defense when it comes to HVAC issues. something running harder than it should, I can get a tech out quickly versus all of a sudden, surprise, you have no AC and climate control.
Right.
We also train them to keep an eye on the ceilings, especially when there's lots of rain. Is the ceiling looking different than it should in climate control? Are we having roof issues, roof leaks, those kind of stuff? Things that you might not think about, just so minor on your walkthroughs that you can just do just to prevent big issues. But I've got a lot of stuff set up with quarterly inspections, technicians come out yearly, maintenance plans, the whole 9 yards. The fire extinguishers, I have a great guy comes out every April, takes care of my fire extinguishers. I don't have to worry about him. I pay him, he does it. I'm good to go if the fire inspector shows up.
Awesome. All right, I'm going to pop this question up from Taylor because somebody else said that they're curious to know as well. Is it uncommon for on-site managers to care for the pest control rather than contracting through a professional pest control company? Any thoughts on this? Anyone have an opinion on this?
We do a little both.
Do you?
It's with each cleaning of a unit, we spray the perimeter of the unit with just regular bug spray, by Home Depot, Lowe's, that kind of stuff, just in case. I also have a contract with a pest control company that comes out quarterly. They spray the entire facility. They treat for mice, ants. We don't worry about termites there, but the major things. And then if there's anything that I find alive, they come back out for free and treat again. So it's a tag team effort.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody else think that it should be a tag team effort like that? How did you guys do it at Public, Matt?
Well, the public being so large, they typically would go to, I think they had an agreement.
Like a master contract.
It was an outside vendor kind of scenario, almost exclusively.
Yeah.
So a little different, but I understand what Steph's saying.
And I mean, think of it this way too. There's a lot of technology and automation coming into play in the space. So with that, it is freeing up managers' time because it's more automated and it's more efficient. So they have time to go do some of this stuff. So I wouldn't hesitate to have them go out there and spray weekly, monthly, whatever it is that you need them to do. Matt, I'm going to toss this question over to you. And let's talk about defining when we're budgeting or we're planning the difference between how I could put this maybe under repairs and maintenance expenses versus like actually bumping it all the way out to like a CapEx improvement project. Like,
okay. Well,
different.
Sure. Okay. From my experience, what I've done my career with Public, let me back up because a lot of the nuts and bolts of it vary, I guess, from policy to policy or company to company, but biggest definition of capital expenditure versus an R&M expense would be what is the scope of work doing to the property, right? Are you making an improvement or are you simply repairing something that's broken? It will allow you to either go down the road of capitalizing that cost or you would have to expense it out depending on what it was. So I'll give you an example. Say if we were to look at just stick with landscaping, let's say for argument's sake, if you were to trim trees, clean up some landscaping, cut grass, R&M expense. If you were to renovate your landscape or redo it, maybe do some grading, correct some drainage issues, and then maybe go to a xeriscape rather than lawn, that could be capitalized because it's a fundamental shift or change to the property itself. And, Warren, you may have more insight into that and know what I'm saying, but just at the big picture, it's about scope and how it kind of falls into one bucket or the other.
Yeah, for sure. And I would add, in the self-storage world, owners want to expense everything. So they do what they do. When someone calls me and asks me, hey, what's the right answer? Exactly what you just said, Matt. If you can call it a repair, then you typically can expense it. If it's an improvement, you need to capitalize it. There's also some criteria that allows you to, if you're going to replace 30% or less of one of those items, and the IRS defines it, but it would be in the self-storage world, doors, roof, parking lot, landscaping, the big things you do. If you're gonna do 30% or less, you can expense it. So let's take your doors. If you have 300 doors in your facility and you're gonna replace, you talk about a maintenance schedule. If you replace them all at one time, it's a capital event and you have to, it's an improvement. You're capitalizing it, you're depreciating it. If you schedule, hey, this year I'm gonna do 100, next year I'm gonna do 100, the following year I'm gonna do 100, you can expense that. That could be a really big number. I mean, $400 or $500 per door and you're doing 100 doors, normally that would be something you would consider CapEx and put on your depreciation schedule. By kind of strategically thinking through your maintenance plan and how you're going to replace that, you might be able to expense it. So same thing with your landscaping. In the example you gave, you're right. If you're improving it, generally you have to capitalize it. But if the total cost of all the landscape and everything outside is $100,000 and you're spending $30,000 on improving it, you can expect it. And that's a kind of cool aspect that we like to tell people they're not aware of.
Yeah. And so like Warren, through your service with CSSI, if somebody came in and said they wanted cost seg done, or they wanted you to give them an evaluation, you could look at this kind of stuff and say yes or no.
For sure. Yeah. We actually, as a service, we give to all of our clients. There's no cost to it. And others too. I mean, we do it to try to gain clients. So I'll get someone that'll call me and say, hey, this is what I'm planning. I'm ripping off a roof. I'm replacing hallway skins. Janus is putting in new hallway skins for me. Are there any tax plays involved? And we'll kind of walk them through that. So when you're ripping off an old roof, you might have what's called a disposition. When you put the new one on, you might be able to get Section 179, and both of those lower your taxes. The easy way to look at that. But yeah,
well, I mean, like payroll, taxes, and insurances tend to be like the highest line items per year on anyone's P&L. So like, why wouldn't you be taking advantage of this to lower your taxes? You know?
Yeah.
Jackie, we're going to pull your slides back up because you've got some relevant visuals that you can show here related to
this. This is really looking at when you need to replace and when you need to paint and when you can restore your doors.
Mm-hmm.
So going to whether, because the replacement like you're talking about is going to be a CapEx expense. So you want to have replaced if your mechanics are going bad, if you can't open those doors really easily up and down, then you definitely want to replace those doors because those become a liability for you if your customers can't hurt themselves getting their doors open or closed. And then if you're adding anything like Noki enhancements or anything to your doors, and you're going to be doing those doors enhancements, you don't really want to add them on really old doors. You might as well just replace the doors and talk to Matt about that. And then other than that, you can either repaint or restore. If you're going to be rebranding, if you buy a new facility and you're buying a few throughout your area and you want to brand as, next door storage and you want to have, all the same colors, that's when you want to repaint. Otherwise, if you have existing paint issues that go down to cracking, peeling, or down to bare metal on the paint, which will actually start damaging the structure of your doors, that's a really good time to repaint your doors as well. Other than that, restoring is actually a really economical option, and Stephanie can speak to that. It restores the door's original color and luster. So if you're buying a new facility, it's a really easy, economical way to come in. And this is what you can either build into your CapEx when you are in escrow and you're getting funding for that property. You can build it into your CapEx budget. Or you can have it done as a repair because it's still not meeting that CapEx threshold when you buy a new property. And then you're not just the jerk who raised the rents, you're actually putting value, and your tenants see that you're actually making improvements to the property before you're hopefully raising the rents when you buy the property. Same thing if you're getting ready to sell a property, you can put those in as a renovation cost. It's not a CapEx expense, it's a repair. And then you can raise the rents to increase your revenue, to increase your value of your property when you're getting ready to sell it. If you're adding new buildings, so if you're adding some of those, what you showed in the video, the Janus movable storage, you can actually match those Janus colors to your original building if your original building was Janus. And you can restore them so that they all match, the old and the new. And then if you just want to maintain your current branding strategy, if you've had the doors painted before, or if you like the colors of your facility and you just want to maintain that, you've built it into your logos, you've built it into your marketing, that's how you can also keep that color alive and fresh. So, and I think Stephanie had some examples of that too that she had sent in.
Yeah, she can. And then we'll talk about this in just a second. Audience, just to let you know, we did ask 2 poll questions. The first poll question is, are you planning to do any renovations at your property anytime soon? You can go ahead and say, yes, I am, or no, I'm not. And the second poll question is, have you ever had a cost segregation study completed? Yes or no? Jackie, I'll ask this to you real quick before we go into this slide. How often, oh, wait, wrong one, sorry. How often do you recommend restoring original color or luster?
So we recommend, so with EverBrite, it kind of depends on which way your doors face and where you are in the country. So down in the southern parts of the country, on those southern facing doors, when they get beat with the sun, you're looking at every 4 to 6 years, and you just clean the doors, refresh, put the EverBrite on again, and they will look good for another 4 to 6 years. However, the north side doors that don't get a lot of sun, you can actually wait 10 plus years and they will look good for a really, really long time, because it's the UV rays that will tend to break down the coating. So those north side doors that don't get a lot of sun, it's not going to break down. They're going to look good for many, many, many years. And even in the northern parts of the country, it'll last, 8 to 10 years, even on the south side, because you just don't get the sun that the southern parts of the country do.
Yeah. I have to put this comment up, and I'm assuming she means they as in tenants. Yes, but they are consistent about causing damage to doors, downspouts, units, and fencing. That sounds like a tenant comment for sure. But yes, we hear that. We've seen that. Definitely make sure you have your property insurances in place for any of these mishaps that are happening.
I have to say, people don't realize a lot of times how faded and oxidized their doors are until they have to replace one. And then the whole rest of the row looks terrible because it's a brand new door. But that's where, again, you can make a match again. But it's funny how many people say, I had no idea until I had a brand new door next to my old ones.
Yeah. And so let's pull Stephanie's slide back up, Iris, so we can show the audience like what that looks like. I mean, Steph, you made the comment when we talked yesterday, like it made your property look 20 years younger. Like, tell me about this.
I know. So the very, very top picture there of the D building, that building's 27 years old. We get a lot of sun. We are South Carolina. So it's about a year ago that I had the doors done, and I could not believe how big of a difference it made. The facility just looked so refreshed. I was like, you would never believe we were that old when you looked at the doors. So I highly recommend it. We'll probably have them come back later and do some other panels that we didn't do that are cream colored, just to kind of refresh those. Because now that the orange is refreshed, I'm like, oh, ooh, look at that. But it took every penny that we put into this, and in such a saturated market, we had to do something to make us look like the facility cared. And it definitely, huge difference. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, and it does. I mean, and I always used to tell Jackie and joke with Jackie, there's a facility right by my house and they have green doors and they were all faded like at different levels. So it almost looked like it was intentionally like ombre-ed, but it wasn't. They were just oxidized doors for sure. Audience, I see your questions and we're going to get to those, but I'm going to ask Matt a couple questions real quick before we dive into yours. So Matt, over at Janus, and Jackie, you can jump in here too. Obviously in the current economy, we've seen a lot of inflation, even through COVID and everything. There were really delayed timelines getting material costs were all up. Are you starting to see that stabilize a little bit? Is it coming down? Is it staying the same? Like, what are you seeing?
Well, from what I've gathered in my long tenure with Janus so far is that it's still, there's still some volatility in raw materials that are, that we look at pricing every day. I'm not aware of any kind of planned increase that they're going to send out at this point right now. If that exists, I don't know about it. So, but yeah, there is some volatility. So it's always something we're looking at and trying to incorporate into our pricing models and things like that.
Yeah. Brian, what about you guys on the lighting side? Are you seeing delays? Are the costs going up on the lighting side? I think you mentioned the other day, like your cost range is up like 20% from what it was.
Yeah, it spiked a little bit. And I think a lot of it had to do with products are delayed, especially exterior. A lot of wall packs right now, or those are, almost 4 to 8 weeks out. They keep bumping dates back. And then when we see that, we see an increase in pricing a little bit as well with alternatives for that. So it's taken a little bit of a hit. It's not terrible though. It's kind of ebb and flow depending on what's going on in the industry. There was a big player that just went out of business, Universal, which has created an influx of discounted products and everything. So that's helped out quite a bit, and we'll see the market and the lighting industry respond to that as well. So
yeah. Now, let me ask you guys this. Hold on, I'm like trying to read. They're coming in with some crazy comments, which is a good thing. So, Brian, discuss with me, since we're on you right now. You mentioned Q1 is over, right? So in many states or areas, cities, you can go to your local electrical company and provider, and you can possibly apply for some sort of a rebate program. Talk me through that.
correct. So what happens is the local utility companies will incentivize you to convert from old technology to new technology, whether it be for exterior lighting, interior lighting, anything that's converting to LED, because you're reducing the load on the grid. And when you do those projects, it frees them up so they don't have to build new power plants. So what happens is they will incentivize you and pay you cash dollar rebates. Okay. And it's as simple as going online, checking those out, going to the local utility company. They're always posted on their websites for it. And then you can track down those rebates, and they can be substantial. Again, those are hard dollars that come back to you, the owners, okay, of the facilities. As part of our service, we do that for you. We track down the rebates. Sometimes, for example, you get $5 for a lamp, but if you come back with a new fixture, it's $100, and the fixture only costs $75. So you're able to make quite a bit of money on it. You're able to make some money on it, and it lowers the installation costs in some cases too. So it works out well. We track down all those different types of rebates, and we make sure that we are getting the highest rebate amount for you, which again lowers the cost of the project for you. And then I see a question from Rhonda there. What is a wall pack? So wall packs are those fixtures that are on the walls on the exterior part of your building. So as you walk around, you'll normally have some type of fixture on the walls, and then you'll have pole lights as well, or some type of flood somewhere in the front. You might have some accent lighting around the office space, some can lights or down lights. So that's what we're getting. Wall packs, gosh, we can provide wall packs for you. We do that quite a bit. You go to Home Depot. But I think the biggest thing you need to make sure of, Joan, is when you're looking at buying wall packs, is one, make sure that there's rebates. If there's rebates, check those out. Call me, I'll help you find those for you, so we can get those. The second thing is when you do those, and here's something, thank you, Jessica, for popping that up. So here's just a quick little project that we did. It's actually a large project. But if you scroll down, there's a blue box there, and there's a dollar amount of $6,659. That is a rebate that comes back specifically to the owner. So those are hard dollars that come back to you. In addition to that, when you're going to do these projects, take a look at the tax savings that we get when we do lighting projects similar to cost segregation. Okay. So there's one on here that says the partial asset disposition or repair regulations. It says $35,000, $558. What that is, the IRS allows you to expense the year a project is done, the old products that you're throwing away that still has a useful life. And then we get bonus depreciation for new products going in. Okay. When we add those two tax pieces together, that's 50% of the project cost. In addition to the utility rebates, in addition to energy savings that you normally get from converting from old technology to new technology. So lots of different things that you can think about. You can definitely go down to Home Depot and buy those items. But yeah, so the best thing to do is make sure you're capturing all those dollars, because those are hard dollars and savings that are coming back to you, the owner.
Yeah. And I'll just add, I was at the Arkansas self-storage show a few years ago, and a guy said, yeah, I went and did all of the lighting myself, and now I'm fighting the energy company. Number one, they're not giving me rebates, and number two, they're telling me I tampered with my meter because my energy draw is so low. One of the cool things Brian does is Brian will certify all that in advance so that there's no question with the energy company, do a whole project. And
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, be on the forefront of it. So I'm going to direct this one over to Matt, because Matt, with public, I would imagine you guys either use something or maybe you had built something internally. So Steve Hardy is asking, are there any maintenance software programs that are specific to storage that can track maintenance issues for reporting issues through completion resolution?
Yes, there are software programs that exist out there, as a variety of them, in fact. And I can, public storage, just to speak specifically about that, was recently completed kind of a transition to a system or a program that kind of was developed in-house, along with partnering with obviously an outside software company.
Sure.
And so they kind of developed something a little bit more custom for public storage in their size. But yeah, those do exist off the shelf too. I'm not an expert on those by any means, but I know they're out there, and there's plenty of resources, I think, available to people that want to get their arms around this kind of tracking and understanding their spend for maintenance.
Yeah. Jackie, do you know of any specific ones? I really don't, to be honest with you. That I saw that question come in. I'm like, oh, that's a good question. I don't know.
So there aren't any, I think, that are specific to the self-storage industry, but being in the facilities management industry as well, I can tell you there are a lot of companies who are finding self-storage. Like, they're finding out that we're an industry, and they're finding out that, like, whoa, there's a lot of facilities in this industry. So they're starting to come in.
Mm-hmm.
And some companies provide their own software where they're a full scope provider. They can do all of your break fix. They can do all of your everything. But they have their own software. And then there's other companies, one that comes to mind is SMG, and they actually provide that. You put in a ticket, and then they pull they'll find a vendor for you to come out and fix it. They manage the whole property, or the whole process, I'm sorry. And then they'll let you know when it's taken care of. So there definitely are a lot of companies like that, and I'm happy to help anybody find one that's more applicable. There's nothing specific to self-storage, but they are definitely getting into the self-storage market.
Yeah, for sure. No, and there's a lot of new technology altogether coming into the market. So I'm sure we'll see something. Let me throw this one up here. What supplies would you say are best to use for maintaining curb appeal? I want to make sure we are using the best products to clean surfaces and such. Steph, any suggestions? Matt, anything?
Good pressure washer to start.
Yeah.
Yeah, double duty.
It's just, you're going to have to find what works for your area and whatever you have. I mean, I can't say there's some magic cleaning solution or weed killer, or if there was, I would have found it by now.
Do you have any preferences? Any preferences?
Well, for the weed killer, I use Martin Eraser. It's a concentrate. It's about as close as you're going to get to maybe a commercial type that the landscapers can buy. Works pretty well. Takes about a week or so to kill the weeds, but it's worked on our kudzu and stuff of that nature. You still have to stay on top of it, though.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's just whatever I can find, and it would be nice to have some magic supplies.
Yeah.
I have to say, we have these things that we use to get all the chalk and oxidation off. We call them prep pads. They're 000 synthetic steel wool pads. You can get them from us. You can get them at Home Depot. But I call them magic pads. So they are the 000 synthetic steel wool. So you don't want real steel wool because it leaves fibers that'll rust. But the 000, it means it'll take dirt, chalk, oxidation, those black marks in your hallways where people run carts into your hallways. It'll take all that off with just a little bit of water without messing with your paint. And they are magic. Like when my kid was younger and he crayon all over the wall, like I have them stocked here at home for those kinds of things, because they do a really good job cleaning the surfaces without actually messing with any of your paint.
And what are those called again?
We call them prep pads. They're synthetic steel, 000 steel wool.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah. It is a mouthful. But if you get a single 0, you will take the paint off. So you have to get kind of the right ones. We have, through 26 years of doing this, figured out which works just perfect.
Yeah, I'm sure you have. Warren, I'm going to take this one over to you, and then we're going to wrap up and see if I have any more audience questions while we're still here live. But you had mentioned that there were a couple scenarios where some CapEx projects had a net zero cost because through cost segregation and the tax saving, they got more back than what their project costs. So talk to me about that.
Correct. Janus, the guys at Janus one time called me and said, hey, we've got some guys doing a door project and they're looking for tax savings. And one thing nobody is aware of is that when you tear something out of your building, there's the tax benefit. So I've been looking at the comments, and a lot of people say, we've been looking at exterior doors in all of our pictures, and everybody says they're 10 or 20 years old. When you go to replace those doors, you're throwing away doors that still have a tax life remaining on them. So if exterior doors are a 39-year asset, I know everybody thinks all doors are 5, but the IRS has court cases that show the exterior doors are 39. If you're throwing them in the trash and they're 10 years old, you're throwing away 29 years of tax life. So the IRS allows you to expense the remaining value of those. So let's say you have a $50,000 door project for Janus, and you're throwing away a good portion of the old doors. You might be able to write off, $20,000, $30,000 worth in doors. That's if you kind of apply a tax bracket to that, that's worth about 10 to 15 cash for cash dollars. The new doors going in might qualify for bonus depreciation. And this particular Janus client did not have, they had never done a cost segregation study. So they did a cost segregation study, and we generated an additional $500,000 in tax savings. They used, number one, they paid net zero on their doors, but they also were able to pay for other stuff with the tax savings. If you go to the next slide, it shows numbers on there, Jessica or Iris, but Brian is the one that kind of coined that term net zero lighting, because we did so many lighting projects where clients had never done cost seg projects. We're creating more tax savings than the cost of the LED project. The same thing could apply with doors. Same thing could apply with other projects you're doing. So realize, number one, every project you're doing, there might be a tax play when you tear the old stuff out and throw it in the trash. We used to use a phrase, don't put your cash in the trash. And that was, realize there's a benefit when you tear something out. When you put new stuff in, like doors or LED lighting, there's usually a tax play involved that again increases that tax savings amount. And then if you've never done cost seg, I saw 5 or 10 people say we've never done the cost seg. It's easy for us to run the numbers for you. We do a no cost analysis. And while you're doing a cost seg, if you tell us we're thinking about these other projects, we can walk you through the tax advantage of doing all those. So you might be considering projects and looking for cash flow to do them, and a cost seg study might pay for it. So net zero cost. Good question. Thank you.
I got 2 questions on that, Warren. Do you do the cost segregation like if someone did it this year, can they still do that cost segregation study before they pay their taxes? And also, can they amend prior taxes with a cost segregation?
Good. Awesome question. Yes, you can always, if you extend, we don't have time to make it for April 15th, but if you're open to extending, then we can do a cost seg and apply that to your taxes for 2022. And you don't ever have to amend to do a cost segregation study. There's simply an additional tax form. It's called the 3115 change of accounting form. So if you've owned a building for 5 years and you said, hey, I never did a cost seg study, I want to do one today. You do the cost seg study, fill out the form, and you apply it to your current taxes. You don't have to amend anything prior. So awesome. Wow, you guys gave me 2 softballs. Thanks.
Matt, real quick before we wrap up, do you want to talk about the Janus Facilitate program? I have a document I can share up here too.
I can talk briefly about that. That's something that David Alexander, who couldn't be here today, has been kind of running that show here for a while for Facilitate. And what it really is it's kind of what we talked about. Janus providing through a network of vendors services for maintenance and maintaining your properties out there around the country. So, it's anything soup to nuts is what we're growing and trying to develop those, like I said, those vendor networks around the country to help. Mm-hmm. And so it's really more of a one-stop shop. We're looking at some things for door spring repair and kind of full vertical integration on doors to start with, but there's a lot of other things we want to try to look at and get into as well. So not a whole lot to talk about today, but thanks for bringing it up. It is something
Yeah.
that we're currently doing and working to improve and grow and try to reach more people with it as well. So.
No, I think this is a good program because a couple people had asked earlier, and I didn't get to this question, like, are there some national suggestions for lawn care, rodent care, et cetera? And yes, there are, and we'll put those in the follow-up email. But it sounds like if you use this Janus Facilitate program and product, like they'll handle all of that for you. Is that what I'm gathering, Matt?
Yes, that's the goal, and just full disclosure, remains a work in progress, but that is our intention to get there where it's a one-stop shop for you guys out there in the field to try to make it as easy and painless as possible to get dealing with these issues that you encounter every day.
No, that's awesome.
They've called us several times and asked us, clients needed lighting, and their R3 program said, hey, we got a lighting partner that can get that done for you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
that's
Jessica,
cool.
for these attachments we've shown on the screen and any other attachments, can they go to a resource to see them later?
Yeah, so just so the audience knows, everything that we popped up on the screen, the checklist, the slideshows, all of the material, the collateral, we'll email to everyone that registered for today's event. And as many of you know, when we go live, if you can't make it here live with us, we always post these webinars on our YouTube page. So you can go back and watch the replay tomorrow. We'll put it up. Actually, it's streaming live, so it'll be available as soon as we get off of this call. But please go visit the SBOA's YouTube page. We have lots of resources. We do, like I said, 2 to 3 of these a month. We talk about all different topics: operations, marketing, feasibility studies, maintenance type stuff like today. So please go visit, and we'll send out all of that information. And we're going to wrap it up. And I just have a couple quick announcements and a video to play before we end today. Thank you guys for attending. If we didn't get to any of your questions, we'll email those to the speakers and see if they can answer those for you. All of the speakers' contact information will be in the video replay on YouTube. So if you want to get in touch with Jackie, Stephanie, Matt, Brian, or Warren, all their contact details will be out there on the YouTube page. We are actually back next week on April the 5th at 11 a.m. We have another self-storage unlocked, and we are going to be going through what you need for an acquisitions checklist, and we'll have some acquisition specialists on with us. If you have any suggested topics that you want us to talk about, you can email those in to us at info@thesboa.com, or you can email me directly at jessica@thesboa.com. We want to hear from you. Any topics you want us to discuss, please email those in. Show season is underway. The next big show is April 11th to April 14th in Las Vegas. That's the Inside Self Storage World Expo. We will be at booth 357 at that expo, and our partners will all be there as well. I don't know if you guys know your booth numbers, but if you want to shout those out real quick, go ahead.
CSSI Energy Services will be at 245.
245.
CSSI is 243.
243.
We will
Jackie.
be at 824.
824. Matt, I don't expect you to know, but we probably know where you guys are.
Yeah, I just saw, there it is, 615, 715, and 815.
Yeah, Janus
Thank
always
you.
has they're like storable. You guys can't miss Janus when you come into the expo showroom. So no worry there. And then I'm on the board for the Self-Storage Association of Michigan. And if you are in the state of Michigan and you follow us, please join the association, number one. And number two, we have on April 24th and 25th, regional owner summits. One is in Bay City, one is in Traverse City. So please attend those if you are in the state of Michigan. And if you're in the state of Missouri or surrounding states, April 26th and 27th, they have their annual conference in Missouri. I will be there speaking with Jim Mooney. And I want to introduce a new product that the SBOA is currently selling. We're selling mystery shopping services. We're giving away 2 free mystery shops. So if you email us at info@thesboa or email me at jessica@thesboa and you want 2 free mystery shops done on your properties, we will do a phone and web shop. But we want to play a video for you of a live phone audit that we did. And we want you to see what this person does wrong on this phone audit. So stick with us.
Thank you for calling self-storage. This is how may I help you?
And do you guys have any storage available, spots available?
You said you're looking for a parking space?
No, I need some storage. I'm moving to town, and I need to put my house in there. my apartment, I guess I should say.
Okay, absolutely. Are you looking for an air conditioned unit or a non-climate?
I think non-climate. I don't think anything in there is probably that, sensitive.
All right, and so with that, our non-climate units with the drive-up access, we have the largest being 10 by 35s, and then down from that we have 10 by 30s, 10 by 20s, and 10 by 15.
Yeah, maybe a 10 by 15. I mean, actually a 10 by 20.
A 10 by 20? All right, and those are starting at $269 base.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
All right, audience, I want to hear from you. What did that caller do wrong? Steph, what did the caller do wrong?
That whole video gave me anxiety. So yeah, what happened to asking the questions, leading questions, and finding out what are you storing? How long are you storing? The climate control. Yeah, people think they don't need climate control, but they might be storing a piano and they need climate control. Oh no, I have so many training issues with that video. Ask leading questions to find out what your customers are looking for.
Yeah. How about did not get name, phone number, email to follow up with the customer?
Sales 101. That's what I thought. He was like,
went,
let the guy hang up without getting his name and number.
I know. He is gone like the wind, right? So listen, everyone, we'll do 2 free shops for you. I'm here to tell you all that we've done for our clients so far, no one has passed, maybe one. So I think with people getting more conscious about the cost of storing their stuff, customer service is going to be critical. Look, I love the audience comments. They're like, furniture should be in climate control. Oh my God, contact info. Yikes. We're seeing this systematically across the entire United States, across small portfolios to big portfolios. Please let us mystery shop your locations and help you get all of them on board. Again, thank you for everyone on our panelists for being here today. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule. Thank you, audience, for attending. Again, we're back next Thursday. Look, I'm saying August. I want it to be summer. April the 5th at 11 a.m. We'll send out the replay to you, all of the slides from today's event. Join us next week. Make sure you follow us on social media. We're on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. We're all over the place. So thanks for being here. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great weekend. And hopefully we'll see you all live soon at one of the upcoming trade shows. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Guys.